Hi folks, time for another book haul. These have been acquired over the last 2 weeks or so, including a bit of a binge whilst I was away for the weekend in early November with my better half. We managed to hit 3 Oxfam bookshops in different places than I usually go, so it was fruitful. First up actually was one that I ordered on eBay, which is the Clan Corporate, which is book 3, I think. Yeah, book 3 of the Merchant Princes. So I had 1, 2 and 4. So I now have all of the first 4, and there are 2 more to get, books 5 and 6, which I'll continue to look out for. I just have a butcher's on eBay every now and again, and if I can find them for sort of £3 or £4, then I grab them. This was £4 something. Next, I think I ordered this on eBay as well, actually, is the final part of Gregory Benford's Galactic Centre series, of which there are 6. So I now have book 2 in paperback and books 3, 4, 5 and 6, although I don't actually have my hands on book 5 yet, but it's on its way. So I'm just missing the first, and I can actually read the bloody thing. But I would like to get them all in hardback at some point, but the earlier ones, books 1 and 2, are pretty tricky to find for sensible money anyway. It's a little bit spine faded on the back. It's obviously been in strong daylight, so that's a shame, but it's otherwise in good condition. This dates back to 1995. Alright, so now this one I did get in the Oxfam bookshop in St Albans when I was there. So this is a chunky ass book. It is a collection, no it's not, it's an anthology of space opera with a bit of military science fiction thrown in. There's a bit of an overlap between those two subgenres, but they are considered separately here. So this has got a whole bunch of stuff. It's got getting on for 700 pages, and there's a mix of new stuff. So 14 news stories and 10 reprints here. So most of them from popular space opera and military science fiction series spanning the decades from the 1950s to the present. So there are a bunch of books here, for example, there's a bit of Ender's Game type stuff from Orson Scott Card. There's something from June by Kevin Anderson and Brian Herbert. And then there's something from the Vorkosigan saga. There's something from Vater's War by Elizabeth Noon. There's some other new bits and pieces. Something from Revelation Space, Universe, etc., etc. There's a mixture of stuff, including something from Robert Silverberg. So that sounds right up my alley. I do like a bit of space opera, and I don't mind a bit of military science fiction as well. So those 2 things are good. So that's chunky, edited by Brian Thomas Schmidt. So this is from it's a US issue, I think, and from Titan Books, and it was printed in 2017. Yeah, it's a US edition. So that's in quite nice condition, and it's nice and chunky. And then I was pleased and also frustrated, it turned out later on, to get these. So I'll put them up together. So these are 2 books by who is it? Robert J. Sawyer, who's not an author I've particularly heard of before, although I have subsequently heard good things about, I think it's Hominid or Humanoid. Hominid, I think, is a series that he did as well, about a parallel world where the Neanderthals are in charge. And these are, it's a 3-book series called the Quintaglios Ascension, and it is about dinosaurs that were spirited away by some mystery benefactor to another planet before the dinosaur killer asteroid strike hit the Earth, and they've subsequently evolved. So somewhat following the pattern of human scientific renaissance. So there's one in here who's a little bit like Galileo, and another who's a little bit like Darwin. I'm missing the first one, unfortunately, so there's book 2 and 3. And these are, it turns out, not the first printing paperbacks, but they are a subsequent reissue by Tor. So it's a US edition. And it's pretty hard to get them. So they obviously didn't print very many. You can't get them easily in the UK. I don't know what these ones were doing over here. You can get book 1, but it's expensive. It's like listed for £70 or something. So at some point I'll just have to look out for it, and if I see it for sale in someone's job lot or something, then I'll get it. I'm really keen to read them now. I'm quite intrigued by the idea of intelligent and involved dinosaurs. So then I found Fractal Noise. I think this was in the Oxfam bookshop in Beaconsfield, where I was having a cup of tea with my missus on our way back from St Albans. So this is set in the same sort of universe as his To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, which I quite enjoyed actually. I mean, it wasn't great or anything, but it was okay. And this is set in the same universe. I don't think it shares any of the characters, but it's in the same sort of milieu, I think it's called. And that's a Tor. So that's, I think, actually a UK printing. So Tor obviously have an imprint over here as well. Yeah, under Pan Macmillan. So yeah, UK publication this year, in fact. So that was £2.50, £2.49. Oh, no, beg your pardon, £3.99, which for a new book isn't bad. And then I was pleased to find a nice Adam Roberts. I think this was his second book. It's called On. And it's a pretty understated kind of cover. I really don't know much about what it's about. So Ty lives on the wall, it towers above his village and falls away below it. It's vast and unforgiving, and it's everything that he knows. Life is hard on the wall, little more than clinging on for dear life. And then one day Ty falls off the world and falls and falls and falls and survives. He finds a new part of the wall, a vast expanse of cluttered ledges packed with more people than he ever imagined. And a war fought by the popes and their armies. On is a superbly confident novel of a radically different world. It has echoes of A Canticle for Leibowitz and The Book of the New Sun. It's a remarkable feat of imagination and sustained narrative drive. So this is kind of future Earth thing from the sound of it. Dying Earth, maybe. Very interesting. I've heard good things about Adam Roberts' writing, so I'm looking forward to that. And I picked up this. It's not new to me. I have a copy of this in paperback. In fact, I think we've got 2 copies in the house somewhere. I read it this year. I really enjoyed it. It's probably a contender for one of my best books of the year. So I was pleased to see it in hardback. It's in really nice condition. So I picked it up. I think it cost me £2.49. It is, I think it's a US printing. Let's have a look. No, I lie. It's a Del Rey UK imprint under Penguin Random House. So, and that's in basically as new condition. So happy days. I can move the paperback on to someone else and they can have it. And there's a few paperbacks here now. There's A. Van Vogt, Pawns of Null A. I've got quite a few A. Van Vogts on my shelves, including one of the other Null A books. I think there's a few. I've only read one, Voyage of the Space Beagle, but I'm keen to read more. So that's cool. 2 or 3 weeks back, I was in Oxfam Bookshop in Henley, and I was filming the shelves as I was perusing them, and I skated straight past this. I didn't spot it until afterwards when I was looking at the video, so I felt a bit silly, but it was there when I went back again. So I picked it up, obviously. So that cost me £1.99, I think. And it's one of his singleton books, so it's not part of a series. I've been hearing good things recently about the David Webber Honor Harrington books. So I saw these, and although they are smack bang in the middle of the series, so not terribly helpful if I wanted to start at the beginning, I'm going to look out for the others as well, so I'll find them at some point. So these are 2 US kind of Bain Books editions. I think this one's first, Echoes of Honor and then Ashes of Victory. So they fall both from the late 90s. 7, 8, yeah. Echoes of Honor is the 8th and Ashes of Victory is the 9th in that series. So I don't know whether I can just dive in and see, and I may do just out of curiosity, but I probably should wait until I've got the others. I've also been hearing a lot of good things recently about Darkover by Marian Zimmer Bradley. So I've got this one, which is, again, not at the beginning of the series. It's probably like the umpteenth, because there's a lot of them, I think. Yeah, Shara's Exile. Let's just see if I can determine where it fits. Geez, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's like about the 15th or something of I don't know how many. And this dates back to 1981, so there could be like another 15 easily since then. It's a UK first edition in the Arrow. It's in nice condition actually. It's a bit of staining on the text block, but the cover's in nice nick, and the spine is got some very faint creasing. You probably can't even see it. Not bad, very tight otherwise. I found James Blish, A Torrent of Faces, which is a collaboration with Norman Knight. It's relatively recent, I think, as James Blish books go. It was printed in, so this is actually a 1978 book, and considering it's 45 years old, it's in really nice condition. It's very shiny, undamaged spine. It's a little bit sort of bent at the corners, but only very mildly. So that's cool. I've got a few other Arrow issue books of James Blish, the City and Flight ones chiefly, actually, but that looks quite nice too. Then I've got a couple of Michael Moorcock's. Again, been hearing good things about Michael Moorcock, and I'm generally a little bit sniffy about him for no good reason whatsoever. It's completely prejudiced. I actually don't know anything about his book, so it's silly of me to adopt that position. So I've got a few on my shelves, and I thought I'd get a couple more. I don't know where they fit in the great scheme of things. I think this one is an Elric book. Is he the Eternal Champion, or is that somebody else? I lose track. No, I think Elric at the end of time is... I don't know. Anyway, it's an Elric book, of which there are many. I think this contains the last Elric story. And this one is also an Elric story, The Vanishing Tower. And these look to me like they'd be 80s books. Let's see. 1983 reprints, yeah. I don't know anything about those. So if you're a Michael Moorcock aficionado, maybe you can let me know where those fit in the great scheme of things, if they can be read standalone, or if I should wait until I've got the full set of the Elric books. Or if they're rubbish and I just shouldn't bother, let me know. So I also picked up a couple of Peter Watts books. So easy for me to say, the Freeze Frame Revolution is a novel, I believe. Let's see. How do you stage a mutiny when you're only awake one day in a million? And how do you conspire when your tiny handful of potential allies changes with each shift? And how do you engage with an enemy that never sleeps, that sees through your eyes and hears through your ears and relentlessly, honestly only wants what's best for you? So it sounds like a generation ship type thing, maybe. I really don't know. But I've only read two of his books, Blindsight and Echopraxia, and he has a pretty twisted imagination, so I'm intrigued to read that. And then I've also got Beyond the Rift by Peter Watts, which is a collection of his short stories. Looks like about 10 or 12 stories in there of varying lengths. Again, I'm expecting kind of dark science fiction with horror inflections, judging by what I've read of his so far. Let me know if you've read them, whether they're any good. So that's it for this little lot. It was a brief one today. There will be more. I've got still some on my shelves here, but I'm saving those for the next video. And I've got some more coming to me later this week, which have been shipped over from the US. Well, I say shipped. I bought them via US sources, and they went to a colleague of mine who works there, and he's coming over this week. So she's couriering them for me, acting as my mule, my book mule. But that's it for today. As always, thank you for watching. And until next time, goodbye for now.